Hey everybody, welcome back. So I'm going to do a listing of my personal top 5 favorite slashers in relation to the 5 sort of most popular ones. And I'm taking this from Andrew Ballina, who did a video of his over on his channel. Now, I think a lot of people who subscribe to me subscribe to him, but in case you don't, I highly recommend go subscribing to his channel. He's a big horror movie fan. Does a lot of really great videos, a lot of fun stuff over there. So I'm going to leave a link to his channel in the description below. Now, a list like this is obviously very subjective. You can look at it from an objective standpoint, but obviously, I think your personal experience and how you discovered them really kind of plays into a lot of it. So very much a subjective thing. So obviously I can't sort of differentiate that as far as, the personal meaning that a lot of these will have for me. So my listing is not from best to worst by any means. I love all 5 of these characters. I love all 5 of these franchises. It's really kind of just small increments as far as how they sort of fall on here, and a lot of that also has to do with nostalgia and personal feelings on what each one means to me as far as how old I probably was when I discovered them. So starting at number 5 is Chucky from the Child's Play films. Now, I love Chucky, but Chucky was actually the last one that I discovered out of the 5. I was older when I saw Child's Play, so it doesn't quite have the full impact on me that the other 4 would have, but that doesn't mean I don't love Chucky any less. In fact, I was very excited last summer when I got to meet a lot of people involved. And I even have one of the Trick or Treat studios, sort of life-sized Chucky dolls, from their Kickstarter, even though you can buy them now, but I was part of the Kickstarter. And that's something I've always wanted even since I saw the first Child's Play, because I'm actually going to set up sort of a little sort of Chucky corner, as it were, a little Chucky display with a lot of stuff, the figure being sort of the centerpiece. So right now it's sort of in my theater room as I'm sort of setting up the different parts of the theater room, sort of rearranging it. So every time I walk in there's always that moment where I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Chucky's is just over there. Then coming in at number 4 is Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. Now, obviously, feelings on some of the films are sort of mixed, especially as they sort of went on. I would say the first 3. I definitely love the first 3. With the first one, I think I still say is one of the best horror films ever made, and definitely one I could watch and have watched countless of times. There's just something about the character of Leatherface. Again, I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre on video when I was young, and I was just like, that first time when you watch it, I think it's really something you never forget. Then seeing part 2 and everything, and it's funny because even part 2, I know a lot of people at the time I think were not happy with it, and I've always loved part 2. I don't want to say I got that it was like there was more humor to it and everything, but I don't know, I guess because I was a kid, I think I was just excited that there was like a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre film and everything. But yeah, I absolutely love the character of Leatherface, even though they sort of got weird with the character as obviously they went on, but at least definitely in the first 3 films, and obviously in the first film, absolutely love Leatherface. Coming in at number 3 is Michael Myers, and kind of went back and forth between 2 and 3, as far as the placing, and I did kind of settle on Michael Myers being 3. Again, no slight against Michael Myers. I think it's kind of funny because actually Halloween 2 I saw first in the Halloween franchise. I actually didn't see the first film until a couple of years later. And of course, I absolutely love all of them. Again, as I've mentioned, obviously my love of Halloween 3. I remember saving up my allowance and going and buying the VHS of Halloween, which I still have, and, watching it over and over and over again, and just really just kind of fell in love with them. And then obviously as the sequels came out, and I would go see them in the theater and everything, and absolutely love the character, and sort of, even if some of the stuff that they've sort of done with him was sort of kind of, mixed, iffy a little bit, there's still something really amazing about almost the simplicity to Michael Myers. Yeah, so definitely, even though it's three, it's a very close three. And coming in at number two is Jason from obviously the Friday 13th films. Jason was, again, also an early one. I saw Friday 13th Part 3 first, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think I saw Part 3 first. So Hockey Mask Jason was like, burning my brain from a very, very young age. And I just became almost obsessed. And I just absolutely love Jason, and I sort of love the fact that depending on the mood I'm in, I have so many different options to go and watch a Friday 13th film. If I want sort of the more darker Jason, I go watch the earlier films. If I want sort of the more fun Jason, I sort of go watch the, what I call the zombie Jason ones. Or if I want something completely different, I'll go and watch 5, which, and I love 5. So even though 5 is, kind of whacked, I still absolutely love 5. I love all of them, obviously to different degrees, but at the end of the day, I still just, I'm unapologetically in love with all of the films, really. So I definitely need to go with Jason at number 2. And then coming in at number 1 is Freddy Krueger. Freddy, having been old enough, even though I was still young at the time, but I was still just old enough to really be aware of the impact that Freddy had, in pop culture. It's unlike anything. It's kind of one of those where unless you really were there when it happened, I think it's a little hard to really get how amazing that was. We have horror franchises that are very successful and everything, but they don't really transcend the genre the way that like Freddy had. Freddy really does almost belong in the same realm, or in the same lineup as, Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, and everything. Like he, it's the other ones, as amazingly popular as they are, to someone who's not part of the horror community, they may not really know them. Like, if you went up and you say, Jason Voorhees, and they're like, what? So, they get the guy, the killer in the hockey mask. Like, oh, okay. Chucky. It's like Chucky, the little killer doll. Oh, okay. Michael Myers, the one with the white mask in Halloween films. Oh, okay. You mentioned Freddy Krueger, they know what it is right away. And I remember seeing the original Nightmare on Elm Street when it first came out on video, and I already knew of them, and stuff. So I was very excited when it came out on video. I rented it from the video store and watched it, and it literally scared the crap out of me. Like, I was so terrified, and I could not fall asleep that night. In fact, I was so scared that I was like, I'm just going to stay up all night if I have to. And I remember I was flipping around TV trying to find something to watch just to kind of take my mind off of how scared I was. And I found Kingdom of the Spiders and ended up watching that. And of course, I love Kingdom of the Spiders, which is funny because I have a real fear of spiders. So it's sort of funny that I went from being terrified of Freddy and not wanting to fall asleep to, watching a movie about, like a very real creature that I'm terrified of. Even though as much of that freaked me out with the spiders and everything, I don't know, it just calmed me down enough where I could actually fall asleep after that. Although maybe I was just exhausted because I think by that point it was like 3 a.m. or something. And then as each film came out, obviously Part 2, and then got to Dream Warriors and Dream Master and Dream Child and Freddy's Dead, New Nightmare and Freddy vs. Jason. Each film it just felt like each one was like an event, when they came out. And again, I think the fact that Freddy also is the one that really has the personality, because he talks. Chucky obviously talks, which is kind of close, but then there's something very specific about Robert Englund's portrayal of Freddy, and when I got to do the photo op with him in the makeup a couple years ago, that's like, it's still one of those, every time I see the photo now, I'm still just like, I'm still kind of blown away that actually even happened. It's really kind of hard to describe some of these things, even with all these characters, not just with Freddy, but even with all 5 of them, because they're ones that, became impactful in my life when I was so young. So there is that personal connection to them. And it's kind of hard to explain fully what they mean to me personally, because they all, and all of them do. It's like, even though I'm putting them in a ranking, they all do so have special meaning for me. So those are my 5. By all means, let me know yours, or if you do a video of it on your own, definitely let me know. And again, to go check out Andrew's channel, which again I will put a link in the description below. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.